Well, what a good evening it is. A surprise stream comes out of nowhere. Just where the hell did this guy go? Oh, there he is. Hang on a second. I got to shut the volume off on YouTube. There you go, YouTube. Let's see here. So there are a few people that joined in. Let's see how we are here on X. I got to rehash and refresh and get into it. Let's see. Tariffs, the real story. I got two people in there for that. That's kind of cool. Let's see. Couple people on the tuber, and I don't know if I ever got. Well, I got a couple people. It says over here in Rumble. Nonetheless, I did start this late. No heads up, no warning, no nothing. I just simply decided after listening to a call-in stream last night. I was on. His name is the Chicago Conservative, turned Chicago Red. And he's an interesting guy, and his audience is the best because he's got some real Democratic haters in his audience, man. Mainly because he's a black dude, right? And so he's got a fairly decent account with 17,000 or so followers, and so he gets a lot of attention from people from both sides of the aisle, which I think is exciting. I think it's awesome. As far as being and then I actually did a call in for him yesterday on tariffs. What going on there, truth seeker? What going on, truth seeker? Let's see here. So I figured we would touch base with that. There's something I think I'm missing here. So I got the YouTube. I got the Rumble. All right, and I got the. All right, we're good. Yeah, folks. So there's a lot of confusion, and sadly, the people that are part of the Democratic world, the Democratic Party, continue to run around saying you're going to be paying more for your goods, that these tariffs are going to cause inflation to explode, here's the sad part about this is it's what they don't know because they refuse to look beyond the talking point. Which is actually the definition of ignorance. Ignorance is a lack of action. You're ignorant because you don't spend the time to understand. You're ignorant because you let what someone else says, okay, sway your view, okay, and then you hear it over and over and over again in an echo chamber. Tariffs are bad. Tariffs are bad. Tariffs are bad. It's going to cause inflation to explode. And blah and on and on and on. And the funny thing is there last night on the True Conservative. I want to get his name right because I do think the guy's pretty damn cool. He's in a unique situation, which unfortunately because so much of the world is viewed through by color, his situation exists simply because of that. And this is no pointing a bad finger at him, but more of society, that everything comes down to the color of your skin. And a lot of times that isn't the best, but he's the Chicago Conservative. I'm going to put a link to his, at least his Twitter page, because he is a pretty decent guy as far as I can see. But with the tariffs, back to the tariffs. This is the part that really should be observed and should be understood before you run around with these corporate criminal jerk-offs on the media and running these streams that are supported by big corporations. What you Democrats that are screaming against the tariffs never are told that the products that Trump wants to put a tariff on are made in third world countries at third world labor, oftentimes and including slavery, that are then sold to this country for first world prices. Do you understand? So you got a Chinese dude making a phone for $2 an hour. You got Apple providing the parts and the equipment for them to make the phone at $2 an hour. They basically have no labor cost. And then Apple brings that phone back home and sells it to us for $1,000. The idea that that's okay with you especially if you're a black American. Okay? Especially, and this is what they're trying to hide from you, because I guarantee you that black Americans that have been beat over the head for every single day that they used to be slaves, that if they understood the slavery that they're enabling by supporting the Democratic Party and or even Republicans that support that, regardless of your skin color, we're all enabling other human beings to be fucking enslaved and paid the bare minimum for the maximum amount of profit for the corporation. And just be aware, folks, most of these imported goods are coming from corporations that are American-based. I mean, just think about that. GM wants to sell you a truck for $60,000. He'd rather build it in Mexico or South America somewhere where the wage is like $8 or $6 or $4 or $3 an hour. He don't want to pay you in Detroit to do it. But it's still, let's be clear, it's still a General Motors vehicle. What right does he have to go down there and let these people work for just enough money to be broke and then sell that truck up here for 50 to 100 grand? That's the issue with the tariffs. That's exactly what Trump is pointing at. That's what he's focusing on. There's no way to deny that that's exactly what happens around the globe, folks. I'm still upset with Elon over the fact that his cars use so much cobalt and nickel. These are minerals that are mined many times and most times in Africa. And in many of those instances, the Africans doing the work are slaves, literal, real-life slaves. And that goes for all your lithium battery, not just Elon. But your American corporations are engaging for this kind of human indignancy, to be the indignant provider. They give these people just enough not to have enough. The factory in China, they had to put chain link fences off the sides of the building, not around the ground to keep people out, attached to the building. Okay, so that if you were to jump, you would land in the chain link fence, because the workers were committing suicide at a rate that was unimaginable. And their phone factories and their chip factories getting paid just enough to pay the government for the government's apartment they live in, just enough for the government-controlled food in China. You know, that's the biggest problem with Americans. For some reason, you wake up in the morning and you look out at the world and you think that there's a whole bunch of countries out there just like America. And you're factually fucked in the head to see the world that way. It's completely not what you think it is outside of these borders. Some countries have it nicer, are richer and better. There's no doubt about that. But those are generally countries that sit on a whole bunch of oil that you better pay attention to their religious laws or you find your ass in jail. So you got that. Then you got developing nations, countries like Vietnam, countries like Venezuela, countries like Peru, countries like south of the border. And our American corporations are taking advantage of those companies to then return that product to this country and sell that product to us at a first world wage. No, Americans don't think about many countries at all because they think the whole world is like America. They're just that fucking stupid. They don't get it. What right does Intel have, okay, to sell me $1,000 phone that you should be making in a factory paying an American $20 to $40 an hour to put together? Literally. You should be giving them health care. If I'm paying $1,000 for the fucking phone that cost them almost dirt to make in China, and they're selling it to me at the same price they would sell me that phone if they were making it here in America. That's what these tariffs are trying to do. They're trying to force these companies to come back and work here. Or they're trying to even the playing ground. What a lot of Americans that don't understand what Trump is trying to point out don't understand is every one of your products are tariffed around the globe. Cheese to go into Canada and milk had a 400% tariff on it from Canada against us. All that is, and here's the sad part, all of you so-called left-wing cocksuckers that think you're educated don't even know what a fucking book is. All the education you have are people telling you this is the way it is, this is the way it is, this is the way it is. And they're never telling you this is how it's understood And here's literature and books and other things you should go read. Matter of fact, you should be curious enough to do that on your own. And people just don't do it. They're too fucking lazy. The idea that tariffs are going to cause inflation is insanity. It's not going to cause inflation. You know, Harley Davidson couldn't sell its motorcycle. I forget what country it was, because the tariff was more than 100%. So here's what that means. If a dealer wanted to sell a Harley Davidson motorcycle, I think this was in Venezuela or somewhere in South America. Maybe it was somewhere in an Asian country. I don't remember. So let's say the dealer cost on a motorcycle was $8,500. Well, then we would have to pay $8,500 in tariff. So now that motorcycle to get into that country is $17,000 is what that company has to pay to then relist it for retail. So you went to those countries, you couldn't buy a Harley in some of those countries, not because the Harleys weren't available, not because we wouldn't ship them, but because the government tariff from that country prevented that motorcycle from coming in. I think Japan is famous for doing that to us too. An ally. Europe is famous for doing it on our wine and on our food and on a whole bunch of things. They put huge tariffs on our energy. And all of these people running around screaming, tariffs are going to cause inflation. Tariffs are going to... You got to be about the dumbest motherfuckers to ever put 2 feet down on the planet we call Earth. You have no concept of what the world has done to us, how our corporations have abandoned us and then turned us into their little fucking proxy. We're paying top dollar for stuff that they're getting made for bottom dollar, and they're reaping all the profits. How do you think these companies make their money? And the idea that they couldn't continue to make money, just not profits at 700-800 fucking percent. Okay, I run a small business. My business runs at a 30 to 40% profit, not fucking 300, 800, 1200%. It used to be when I grew up that the most profitable thing to have sold would be diamonds. The markup on diamonds was like insane. And everybody accepted that. Everybody knew that. What Americans are unaware of is that's exactly what's happening to everyday fucking products you see on the shelf at Walmart. Okay, you see on the shelf at a lot of your hardware stores, even at your big box stores. I mean, not for nothing, folks, but I bought an 85-inch TV for $850. 4K smart, all the fucking features you could want. That's what it should cost if you're going to get it from China. If you're going to have an American manufacturer make TVs, they're going to have to try to compete with that, but they're also going to have to push the American label, the American made. And if they charge a little more, then it's a personal decision to buy. But we need to understand why tariffs are needed, why Trump's discussion and insistence that he's going to tariff the shit out of some of these countries is important, because these countries tariff the shit out of us. If we can't sell our product overseas, we have less employment here. Worse, if you're going to make me pay $67,000 for a brand new pickup truck and it's made mostly overseas, you could go fuck yourself. Just think about that. That's an incredible amount. And they could be as much as 100. I saw a brand new Cadillac SUV, $161,000. Are you serious? It's assembled in America. But who's making the pistons, the rod, the connecting rods, the bolts, the gaskets, the fucking intake manifolds, the starters, the alternators? Who's doing all of that? Not Americans. This is what Trump is trying to fix. That's why his argument of tariffs are so deadly important to the survival of the country economically. What else do I have here? I have something that people... Here, I'll put this in the chat room. Something else a lot of people... Man, I look at... I'll be honest with you. I'm irritated at just how lazy we've all become in America. And that we think we know, we don't know. All we know is what we hear or what we're told. But tariffs were the greatest source of federal revenue until the federal income tax began after 1913. Let me say that again in plain English. The government of the United States supported its need for function with tariffs on products being imported into the country by taxing those that want to sell here. Okay? There's no way you can tax an Apple phone coming into this country that you tariff that. So you put a tariff on that for 30%. There ain't no way he's going to add $300 to a $1,000 phone that people can just barely fucking afford anyway. There's no way a guy selling you a $60,000 or $70,000 pickup is going to mark his pickup truck up to fucking 100. He ain't going to sell no pickup trucks. He's going to have to start building them here. And with the advent of machinery and robots and human labor, there's no reason you can't make that same pickup truck on American soil. There's no reason we can't make starters and alternators and all the other shit that goes into that truck. As a matter of fact, the reason we're not making them is because these corporations were allowed to do what they're doing. And it's criminal what they're doing to humanity on a global scale to turn around and bring that product back here and sell to me at a first world price. I find that to be just filthy. You should go up with Sergeant Friday. Let me see here. Someone's saying something. I'm trying to catch up on the chat room, folks. Company that manufactures computer chips said this week that it's shutting down a production. Yeah, it's so much cheaper. Listen, Americans didn't push back. When Boeing wanted to work with China and use some of China's labor to help make some of its plane parts, Boeing was only allowed to do that if they built a plant in China, if they gave the technology to China. They had to surrender everything to China in order to build something in China. No skin off their ass. So they go ahead and they do that, and then they get the cheap Chinese labor. And it's not that a Chinese person is less capable of the same task that we're capable of. That's just isn't it. They're totally as capable as we are. But none of the companies that you see in China, any of them, were stood up as a result of Chinese inventiveness, of Chinese ambition, of Chinese, a carrot and stick kind of system. Everything you see in China is theft of other technologies and other concepts and ideas from other nations, and then paying their workers as little as possible. And this happens all over the world in many, many countries. Say there's 128 countries. It's probably 75 that do this. Why are we doing business with these companies? And even worse, why is the Democratic Party backed by all them fucking corporate billionaires like Facebook and Amazon and Intel and Apple? Why do you think all them companies support all these media outlets? So they can get away with doing exactly what they're doing. And then you're a Democrat, and they try to sell to you what they're doing as an American. It's American democracy. Well, you support a party that actually supports slavery, indentured servants, low wages to return high profits. So how the fuck as a Democrat are you about the working people? How are you about other human beings when that's exactly what you're supporting? It's absolutely fucking amazing. Boeing in Mesa, Arizona downsized with pink slips. Yeah, Boeing's going through a lot of fucking problems because of they're being forced to fucking do things they shouldn't be doing. These DEI employees, these fucking HR departments that are, oh my God. Everything that the Democrats stand behind is a demoralizer or it's a way to defeat a particular system. All the way from global warming to this nonsense now they're crying about tariffs. The Democratic Party is trying to destroy America. Anybody that you know that votes Democrat, okay, is a participant in the destruction of this country because of what the Democrats stand for. And for people to get outraged over tariffs, come on. You have no idea how the world economy works. You have no idea just how fucking much advantage is being taken from you. Why would GM and Chrysler and Ford want to rebuild Detroit when they can get that same shit done cheaper down in Mexico and then bring it across the border and sell it to you, you idiot? And you know that that's true. Now it's being done on a scale never seen in world history. Never in world history has this kind of scaled up fucking craziness ever taken place. And in the meantime, you're losing your capacity to create steel, to create all kinds of different products that are crucial to the operation of this country. Beyond crucial. You need copper wire. You need minerals. You need oil. And you're allowing these corporations to take America from its own resources and put us at the mercy of foreign nations supplying us with these things. It really is. It really is insane. And these Democrats that just like they jumped in that guy's channel screaming, "Oh, you guys are going to wait and see about inflation. Wait and see. I want to wait and see how many of your fucking kids get their peckers cut off. That's all I'm waiting to see. I'm not waiting to worry about any inflation. As a matter of fact, I suspect the inflation is going to come down considerably. Competitiveness makes inflation go away. I'm tired, and I said this a long time ago, folks. This was the potato chip election. Trump won because the poor people, enough poor people, decided that they were sick and tired of the Democratic Party. The true conservative that I linked to, that gentleman, is one of them. And he's got a lot of followers, and a lot of them are on the same page he is. My friend is a chip designer and a grad at Stanford with a master's. Yeah, you're right. I mean, they steal our technology because, I find it quite fucking sad. We are our own worst enemy. And the biggest part of being our own worst enemy is, first of all, you're supposed to question man's knowledge. I've said this before, and I don't know how to say this in a way that makes an impact. You're not supposed to accept man's knowledge. You're not supposed to believe in man's information. Man's knowledge is not to be believed. It's to be questioned. Everything's to be questioned. There's a famous scientist out there. I forget his name, Weissman or something like that. But he said something that actually is what I've always viewed, and one of the reasons I can stay optimistic. We're moving beyond Einstein physics. The Einsteinian world is we're stepping beyond that now. We're right on the edge of moving into a whole new set of fucking understanding of the universe, of physics, and of everything. We're right there. There's key people that are going to bring us across that line. And a whole new understanding is going to start to set in. And none of us are ready for this. None of us are ready for this. We're so ineptly unready that when they tell us AI exists, we just run around and accept that AI exists. Can we have machines that are capable of doing things in the realm of mathematics and of putting together two pieces of a puzzle that you and I can't put together because we don't know they exist? Absolutely. Is there a cure for cancer? I suspect there is. I suspect the only way humanity, or the most expedient way for humanity to find the cure, would be for a mechanical system, a computerized system, to review every single bit of cancer data and start connecting dots within that data that give you a direction to a cure. One person or a group of people can't do that. A machine has the infinite capacity to all that is information and can do that. Now, you can call that intelligence, but that's not really what intelligence is. So rather than deep dive into that, these algorithms that they're writing, the ability for the machines to do things that humans want to do and things to emulate what we're doing, is more accurately what you're seeing being done, that they're calling artificial intelligence. It's not technically artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence would be something that you and I couldn't even understand. What we're doing is creating machines that we call AI that are giving algorithms that allow them to do things to emulate and simulate humanity. That's what you're doing. Like they're saying a computer will be smarter. No, it won't be smarter. It'll be more capable of retrieving the information needed to give an answer you and I either can't give or aren't quick enough to give. You're going to see a computer outpace humanity's ability, but it isn't because it's learned it. It doesn't know the difference between hard and soft. It knows hard and soft exist. It's just hard. It doesn't see it like you and I do. If I say, something hard, you think of metal, and I think of something soft, you think of a stuffed animal or a pillow. That's you're doing a lot of things that the computer itself wouldn't even have the processes to worry about doing. It identifies hard from soft, but not in the ways you and I do, not in an intelligent way. Right? So all of this shit's going on around us, and none of us are questioning what's actually coming around. You hear, so go back to the tariffs. Trump, you hear a group of people on the news, a group of people that vote Democrat, and all the Democrats screaming tariffs are going to cause more inflation. Okay. Do people even understand why the tariffs are being applied? He's not applying the tariffs to force lower prices. He's applying tariffs to force greater competition on a more level playing field to allow more of our products to be bought overseas. And in fact, many of our products that we can sell overseas or that we're buying from overseas can then again, once again, be built here. And that's the strategy Trump is doing with tariffs. I don't know why so many people in the Democratic Party refuse to even read about what's happening and what his motives are and why. Why the fuck are we paying people in China $2 an hour to build that $1,000+ Apple phone? Why are we buying Apple? I refuse to buy Apple. I refuse to buy Nike. Nike is built in some factory in China, or they're getting $1.60 an hour to put those shoes together. How much do they charge you, the end user? Why aren't they made in fucking Indiana? Why aren't they being made in fucking some low-income area around New York City? Why not? Where's the Nike factory? This is what he's trying to reestablish. We've allowed the world to take advantage of us. Okay? And this is not we, the people, but we, those elected officials. When I say in this circumstance, I mean the elected officials, to just take advantage of us. And it's quite fucked up. And that's the level, that's the playing field that Trump is trying to level. And the use of tariffs is one of the tools that he's going to use to level that playing field. I mean, go look up the troubles. And I suspect anybody that listens to the Chicago Conservative, go look up the trouble Harley Davidson had selling their motorcycles overseas. Go look. You want to hear something else that's funny? And this is interesting. I never liked four-door pickup trucks. Okay? I bet you Americans think, or Americans may assume, or they don't maybe never give it a second thought, but why do you suppose pickup trucks got 4 fucking doors? And where do you think that originated? Well, a pickup truck got 4 doors because that was then considered a passenger vehicle. And for companies in China, or for especially companies in Japan that were trying to sell vehicles in America, especially trucks, the 4-door classification lowered their tariffs. It lowered their cost to get them into the country. And the same vice versa with the American truck going out of the country. It was just some fucking game. There's always some loophole, and somebody's playing the loopholes. And the loophole in this particular instance is your 4-door pickup truck wasn't designed because people demanded they had fucking 4 doors. Okay? It wasn't some great fucking thinker that came up with the idea of 4 doors. It was an economist. It was a bean counter that realized, you know, if we had 2 more doors to these trucks. So, you know, I mean, I personally didn't mind the king cab where there was some area behind the seat, maybe a quarter door or a third of a door that you could put some stuff behind. I'm not a fan of the 4 doors, but everything you go to buy today has got 4-door pickup trucks. I'd rather have the storage room in the box. That's the fucking function of a pickup truck. A box to haul things in. Okay? Not a fucking passenger vehicle to haul small things in. It was supposed to be the exact opposite of a fucking passenger vehicle. Right? Pickup truck. Car. A truck was made to haul things, to do work. Period, end of story. And I think they've ruined them by making them 4 doors. In all fairness, after turning over the package and seeing the made in Mexico printed on the bag. Yeah, well, a lot. There was, I think Oreos were also being made, or they were going to be made in fucking Mexico. Remember when Trump said he wasn't going to eat more Oreos back in 2016? Yeah. He was anti-Oreo cookie back in the day because of that. Hostess is one of the only companies that really survived. They had those bakeries all over the country, and all the bakers demanded some enormous raise and some benefits. And Hostess says, if you guys stick to that, then we're just going to close everything down and fire everybody. And that's what they did. And then what did they do? They went and set bakeries up in states that don't force you to have unions and right to work states. And then Hostess created a way that they could freeze their fucking product, so that they can make that product today and ship it and send it somewhere, and it'll show up in a week. So, you know, Hostess was one of those companies that stood their ground and was like, nah, We're not going to let the unions destroy our country, our company. And that's one of the arguments I think a lot of companies use to go overseas. But I was proud of that one company because they didn't use that as an excuse to go overseas. They kept it in America and right to work states. There's a Toyota plant and one of the Kentucky, I think, and they're trying to unionize that, and the workers keep voting right to work. So there's advantages to unions to some extent, but I think most of those advantages really aren't what they're good to be. Thanks there, Bloomer. What a luxury item versus a utility. So it's a matter of taking off like a rocket or cutting your losses. Yeah, next year I'm going to retire. I'll be 60 years old. I'm going to just step back. I'm one of those people, and I'm sure there's a lot of people like that. When's enough, right? When's enough? And as you get older, proportionately, your monthly expenditures go down because you've paid things off. So your house should be paid for. You shouldn't have an enormous car loan. You shouldn't have big credit card. You shouldn't have any of that when you get older. I mean, I know a lot of people do for a lot of other reasons because life does happen. But normally you would hope that by the time you're in your 50s, your overhead a month is little or nothing. I think my overhead a month for everything, including food, is like, I don't know, $1,100 or $1,200. And you guys know I eat T-bones. I eat ribeye, fucking cut pork chops. I don't eat garbage. I eat good shit. And I cook my own meals. What's up, 12 gauge? I was in your channel earlier. I don't know if you noticed me. How the hell are you? Yeah, so divorce kind of throws a monkey wrench in financial. Yeah, no, life does happen. I get that. I'm fortunate that I'm able to do it a little earlier. But I guess my point was, when is enough? For instance, I invested in that XRP. I don't know if anybody pays attention to Bitcoin. I really don't. But I've been seeing so much of this data come out. So what happened was I opened up the ability to buy Bitcoin. And I bought Bitcoin cheap, this XRP. And it went up to $2.67. And I'm thinking, I don't know what I'm thinking. My first thought was I'm just going to hang on to this until I'm old, real old. And then I started looking around. And then somebody that does math that I neglected to do, I didn't pay attention, did math and showed that in order for that coin to jump to like $25 a coin, there would have to be trillions of dollars of money being transacted, trillions. And it was at that point that I immediately made the decision to sell that coin. I owned the coin for a week or less. And I ended up walking away with $1,600 in my pocket on top of what I had spent. So that was my venture into Bitcoin. And it didn't hurt me. And I made $1,600 or $1,468, something like that. Say $1,500 so that there's no. And I'm happy. I made $1,500 on something I don't know anything about that I jumped into because of the hype, and then paid attention to the hype. And when I finally found someone that really did charts and talks and could show you what was happening, I jumped out. And funny enough, I jumped out at the same time they call the big whales jumped out. Guys that had thousands and thousands and thousands of these coins. One guy jumped out with 4 million. So a lot of the big guys were, and I didn't know they were jumping out. I just realized, you know what? The pipe dream that this is going to be like Bitcoin, based on what this guy just shared, is like fucking crazy. I better get the hell out of there. And it worked out. 12 gauge, what have you been doing? I know you had a stream you wanted to read, but this is anybody that wants to come up, including 12 gauge. There's a link right there to jump in here. Let's see, I got 4 notifications. So, what was I going to say? Say hi to all those in X. And we got a couple dozen people almost on the tube. And we have just me on fucking Rumble. I love Rumble. I get nothing from Rumble. It's too funny. Where were we? Where are we? So let me see. Back in the day, my friend Wally bought me. Well, $5 worth of Bitcoin is how much? Is it 5 coin, or if it's 5 coin, it's worth almost $500,000. So I don't know what you mean when you $5 worth of Bitcoin. $5 worth of Bitcoin today, I think a number 2 pencil is worth more than $5 worth of Bitcoin. I can't imagine it being worth much today. I mean, I know it's worth $100,000 a coin, but back when you bought it, I don't know, whatever the math would be on that, it can't be worth that much. But if it's 5 full Bitcoin, it's time for you to retire, son. You better get your ass, get your cash, get the hell out of there. Yeah, so on the tariff things, there's more to it, and it's not rocket science to understand why Trump is pushing tariffs, why he's targeting these countries that take advantage of us, that tariff our products. And more importantly, it's not even the countries. How dare these American corporations set up shop in these foreign third world countries and pay little or nothing for wages, have no safety records, no standards for their pollution, none of that. A short side story. I was going to buy, for my business, we use a lot of nails. So I was going to do the import-export thing and get these nails from China. And let me tell you why I didn't. All of these manufacturers in China started sending me information about their capacity to create this nail and ship them to me in bulk at such a low price, okay? And they were in the pictures, they were showing me there were guys outside with machines that run on hundreds of volts of electricity under a tin shanty roof making these nails. They were walking through mud puddles and fucking electric cords dragged across the fucking ground. And I'm thinking, nah, I ain't buying no nails from that motherfucker. No way am I buying nails from a company that has people out there like that. So all of that stuff doesn't exist outside of our borders when it comes to a lot of the places that these big corporations pick to do business with. It's disgusting. Humanity shouldn't treat humanity the way it treats humanity. I almost to a person. All of you all in this chat room love dogs more than you love fucking people. You love pets more than you love your fellow man. I find that to be gross. I mean, to me, pets are a wonderful thing, and they're very, they're very, very wonderful. But in the end, right, if I had to pick and choose, I would rather eat a cat or a dog than a fellow human, and so would you. You just don't want to admit that. I'd never eat a dog. Yeah, you would. Okay? Yeah, you would. Pitbullpotamus. Individually, people can choose to be good or bad. I was talking with someone the other day. And you never know what's inside of someone's head. You never, ever, ever know somebody. No matter what you think, you never, ever, ever really know somebody. People are capable of the most wonderful and the most atrocious things and everything in between. And no matter how long you're married or how long you live with someone or how long you've been friends or how long they've been your parent, you never, ever, ever really know somebody. That to me is the change from child to adult is simply the ability to lie and hide. Right? That's what a lie is doing. A lie is hiding the truth. That's your transformation from childhood to adulthood. You have to become a liar, and you have to accept that the world lies, and you have to, and it's kind of fucked up that it's that simple though, when you think about it, folks. It's literally that simple, the difference between a child and a fucking adult. It's crazy. Like people will point out, a little kid will say, "Mommy, look how fat that girl is." Shh, you're not supposed to say that. Right? Sometimes seeing it and saying it may not be the same thing, but seeing it, recognizing it, keeping it to yourself, that's fine. That's called etiquette. Right? That's called etiquette. So you should be teaching etiquette, but you shouldn't be teaching or shouldn't make it acceptable, because people do lie. They lie. You should never make a promise to a child that you don't think you're ever going to be able to keep, or you're not going to be able to keep, or you're doing it just to shut them up. That's just wrong. That's just wrong. That's my personal view of the world. That we just lie too much amongst each other with too many fucking secrets. And look at all the nonsense that we have to endure. So Apple can make more money, and fucking Ford and Chevy and fucking all of these companies, all about blah blah blah. They could take. It's insane. Well, there's oh here. How long has this been going? A little while. So I'm talking to myself to see how long I've been on here. 40 minutes. So here's something that happened to me the other day. I refused. I made the decision that I was not going to use Amazon Prime anymore. I wasn't going to pay $179 to get Amazon Prime. Okay. I just, done. And yet I did go back. I didn't consider not doing business with Amazon. I just wasn't going to give them, and for me, it's probably $190 with tax because there's going to be sales tax on it. Let's just say I wasn't going to give them $200 for the whatever perks they might be offering. I noticed after a certain amount of money, when you order, their shipping is a standard $6, $6.99 or $6.99, $7. And so I figured in my head, if I buy from them 20 times, it's only $140 in shipping. And that's generally what I use Amazon for, to buy stuff. And if you break it down, that means if I ordered from them almost twice a month, I would still be saving money. And I don't order from them that much. So I canceled Prime, and they keep sending me a message. Your credit card was I closed credit cards. This is what I'll do in order to make sure a credit card is clear and there's no hidden fucking people still dipping into its pocket. You know how you join up stuff? What I do is I cancel the card and have them issue me a new one every 6 months. Sometimes every year, maybe not every 6 months. But what that'll do is it'll shut down anybody that's trying to get money from that card on a monthly basis. It shuts them out because now the card that they're looking for the money for is gone. And this is what happened with Amazon. So they're sending me all these messages. They want me to re-up my Prime, and I'm just ignoring them. Well, here's what I've experienced since I've canceled Prime. And you guys in the audience, you can help me here because you can tell me whether what I'm experiencing, if you do have Amazon Prime, if what I'm experiencing is any different than what you're experiencing with your purchases using Amazon Prime. First, does anybody out here and there's 60 of you in here, 63, do any of you have Amazon Prime? I guess you don't need to answer that. I don't want people to know if you got, not that it could hurt. I don't know how it could hurt by saying it, but yeah, does anybody in the audience use Amazon Prime? Because here's what's happened to me. I ordered some stuff yesterday or the day before. I think it was yesterday. And of the 7 things that I ordered, 3 of them weren't going to be available until January 24th, 2025. Everything else was going to be available either within 10 days, and 1 thing would have been available in 2 days. And so this egregious delay between the order and when the order was going to be returned of over a month. 2 months, man. And I'm talking like spaghetti sauce, common fucking shit, root beer, common ass shit. A 2-month wait. Does that happen to people that are paying for Amazon Prime? Because to me, I never experienced that when I had Amazon Prime. The most was 5 or 6 days. But are you so Bloomer? You're saying that you've tried to buy products. Are you saying that you buy your products? So Liz never had Prime. Free delivery if you can wait. She's never had Prime. Nope. I had a delay in a garden hose, so I chose another vendor. Yeah, on Amazon, you chose another vendor, or you went somewhere else to a different company and bought it, like Walmart or fucking Lowe's, or what do you mean by that? And you don't have Amazon Prime, so that to me, I think is, and this is my assumption, right? Is that because I don't pay that $200 a year, that when I'm ordering on them, I'm left to whatever chaos is out there, and I could get a 2-month delay on spaghetti sauce. I mean, can you imagine 2 months for a jar of ragu? Man. Because I'm a lazy fuck and I can afford to have it delivered. And I can't stand going to grocery stores. You want to know the big reason why, Van Savant, I don't like grocery stores? I got a phobia for grocery stores. I'll tell you why. Every time I go to one, the only line that's open is usually some big, giant, gargantuan fucking woman, right? Massive, unattractive, big, burly broad. And the minute I enter the line, she's calling me honey and baby. I just can't take it. I got to get out of the line. I just am like, no. I've left whole carts in aisles because the only cashier available was some burly, big ass, giant woman. No, I'm out of here. Sorry. I got a corner store. I had to tell the cashier, please, if you can call me by my first name, right? And I gave her my first name. But don't call me honey or babe or sweetheart. I don't do that to women. I don't care how attractive you are. I want to know your first name to address you as a human being, right? And it's just, and you all know I am a fucked up person. I am a uniquely fucked up person. I get it. Okay. I do go to the corner store, but I don't go to big grocery stores because I just try to avoid the crowds and the people that are in there. And there, see you go. Okay, sweetie. I'll reach right through the monitor and choke that dinner right out of you. Yeah. I guess maybe the truth of the matter is I really don't like people. I won't do self-checkout unless I only have less than 5 items. Anyway, so that's been my experience with Prime. And the idea that you're going to tell me I got to wait up to fucking 2 months. I order something on the 3rd. You're telling me I can't have it till the fucking 24th to the 27th of the following month. I'll knock your fucking socks off. That's just crazy. So I'm blaming it on Prime because I don't pay him the $200. Okay. I'm blaming it on that. That's why I get caught up in these bullshit fucking delivery schedules that are just, this is the worst one, 2 months. I'm waiting on Bic lighters, multicolor, 2 packs of 5. Okay. I order one every year or so. And guess what? I'm still waiting. They're supposed to be here December 11th. Well, what I got will last to December 11th, so I didn't complain. I just let the order go through. Otherwise, I would have canceled it. I think in one of them, I tried ordering Hostess cupcakes and Twinkies, right? Because I'm still a child at heart. Box of, what is it? A box of 24 or something like that. And it's usually they're $1 a piece, man. A package of cupcakes and a package of Twinkies when you do that. I buy candy bars and stuff like that too. I buy them in bulk. So I'll buy, 18 I think it's 24 candy bars. They're full-size candy bars. They're $18. You go to the store, the candy bar is $2.79. It's insane. And Bloomer, that's exactly my point. That's exactly what I feel has been happening to me. Is that because I don't pay that fucking VIG of $200 for the year? I don't give them their free fucking money. They ensure that any kind of service I'm going to get from them is shit. That I can wait for my products. That I'm not a preferred customer anymore. I'm just some guy that's been buying from them for years. And I've paid for Prime for years, but I just refused. I'm just not paying them $200 to get some special deal. I mean, by the time shipping burns up $200 out of my wallet, I'm into the next year. Then goes to the store and they load up your cart and they don't fuck it up. Kroger and Walmart. Yeah, I at times don't mind going to a store. We've got a company up here called Wegmans, and they got fantastic superstores. As a matter of fact, Wegmans themselves as a company, people from all over the world come just to see Wegmans superstores. One of the things on their agenda to visit in my state is Wegmans. And it's a grocery store. To think it'd be 100,000 square feet. It's fucking beyond. It's huge, huge. The scale of the stores are just crazy. And they've been like that forever. So, people come, you come here from Sweden or somewhere and you get brought to a Wegmans, you're like, whoa. I thought if your order was over $35, it doesn't matter if you have Prime or not. On the cost of shipping, you're correct, Carl. And I think it's more than that, but let's just stick, whatever number it is, you're right. There's a flat fee for shipping if your order is over a certain amount. That flat fee is $6.99. Okay? And that's fair. That's what I mean. If I order 20 orders throughout the year, that's $140. It's cheaper. I don't need to be giving them another $50 for the privilege of what? Apparently for the privilege of fucking, I don't know. Maybe it's worth the extra $50, I guess, if I sit down and think about it. But yeah, it probably is, right? I go to the neighborhood Safeway. Oh yeah, see? Yeah, we've got some of these Wegmans superstores, and they're in a few states here up in the Northeast. They're like $1 billion, like they've been the top 500, top 100. They do good by their workers. They're it's quite the fucking company. It's amazing when you walk in there, and you just see how big it is. It's fucking thing is giant. I mean, just going shopping for people that need to walk. That's where you go. Find a Wegmans superstore. It's like walking around the damn mall. Yeah, the produce and meats. What do we got here? We got a few more minutes. No Cletus. Let's see if he texted me back. No, he didn't even text me back. Go file bankruptcy again, male pig. Well, there's no need for me to file bankruptcy, although, yeah, I guess I am a male pig. Oink, oink. Your mother didn't seem to mind. I don't know why you're complaining about it. Are you offended? Your mother, she enjoyed the pig's cock. I hope that doesn't offend you. Helping you get frustrated and pay up. You're right there, Bloomer. You're extremely right. Mountain Wanderer. So I don't know. Someone named Mountain Wanderer. No, you don't need to boot him out or do anything with him. Cletus is up Clue's pussy, sick fuck. Look at that. Evening, Joanne. That's his woman. Of course he's in her pussy. Dumb bastard. I had 2 vets, Bloomer. I sold the new one because I made big money on it. I drove that new one for $0. Cost me $0 to drive the brand new C8 Corvette for 3 summers. I paid $0 to do that. When I sold it, I got all my money back, plus. So, yeah. I kept the old drag race one that I drive around. So, yeah, if that's all you're going to add, Mountain, just walk off. You might as well go to someone else's stream. You're of no use in here. You want to come in and talk shit about different creators and people. It takes a special kind of fucking jerk off to do that. And yeah, you're just not welcome here, man. Move on your own, so we don't have to. Otherwise, we can block you, but you might as well just move on. Joanne, so what did Joanne say? Evening, Joanne. Do you still have the vet? I had 2. I'm down to 1. Let's see. Everybody's saying hi to Joanne. Well, Joanne, you're pretty famous. I wonder what happened to 12 gauge. He must have just came in for a second and then took off. I asked him if he wanted to come up and chat. He didn't want to come up and chat either. That's just kind of fucked up there, 12 gauge. Kind of she is it as that, boy. I had questions. I wanted to answer some questions on some of the, at 12 gauge. Man, you're not in here. Oh, wait. I got to check on fucking over here to see if he's here. At 1, 2. There he is. Yeah, get your ass up here, 12 gauge. I want to ask you some of the developments there in the what do you call it there in that Idaho case. You could spend 5 minutes coming in here, son. And just answer a few. I just got a few questions. I'm not going to get into any big debate about it. Let's see. Tariffs. It's a real story. So anyway, for the Chicago conservative, keep up the good work, bro. You're doing well. You've got a crazy ass audience. that just repeats and stumbles across things they're being told. None of them spending any time to give anything a second thought. None of them looking out across the borders and seeing how we're treated overseas with tariffs. None of them seeing the slavery that's being used and the third world wages being paid so that these companies that are American companies can make maximum profit in the first world market. That's the fucking problem that needs to be fixed. And I'm glad actually that Trump has Vance, because Vance is actually, he's big on that. He's very focused. He understands how that's being done, how we're being taken care of, taken advantage of. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's a blue vet there, Bloomer. Carl used his wrench. Look at that. Carl flexing. Carl be flexing on people in here now. Hey, what's up, Joanne? Nice to see you. Carl he'd be flexing. Where's 12 gauge? Get your ass in here, 12 gauge. What the hell are you doing? I know you're out there. Mr. Investigates. Spare a couple of minutes of your time. You ain't doing shit. You were supposed to read during your stream. You canceled your stream. Come on. Your horse is patoot. Woohoo. Not even a reply from him. Like, I'm busier. No, not even an excuse. I had a great Thanksgiving. Yeah, awesome Thanksgiving. Every day is a good day. I'll tell you what makes every day a good day is when you make sure that you don't do anything to cause it any other way. You don't sidetrack it. You don't do anything that'll cause your day to go bad. Stay out of your own way. That makes days generally pretty damn good. Don't let your feelings and shit run away with you. I can't believe it. Good old 12 gauge has not. I repeat, has not. I did do a thread about Trump and Elon Musk. On Twitter. Because I think those two are pretty pretty interesting. Well, it's not that you're going to F anything up. Just don't let anything that happens cause to distract you from having a good day. There's a lot of things I could sit around and complain a bitch about. And fume over and wander over. But for what? To what extent? No point. Some things disturb me. I don't mind that Facebook, or not Facebook, I'm sorry. I don't mind that Amazon's doing that to me. There's a gazillion other places I can buy what I want. So I brought it up in the stream because I thought it was something unusual on Cash Patel. I don't know. Time will tell. If I'm not mistaken, Cash was pretty close with General Flynn, and General Flynn's a real fuck up. That General Flynn, what a piece of shit that guy is. And most of you, a lot of people are sycophants. They think Flynn's a hero. They think Flynn was targeted. You take Flynn out of Russiagate, there could have been no Russiagate. You take Julian Assange out of Russiagate, there would have been no Russiagate. Those two men were the key reasons Russiagate got any traction. And those two men are the only reason Russiagate got the time and all the shit that it went through. Okay? So I'm a little leery about Cash Patel. But like with anything, Trump did say that his picks before were his problem. Well, he's picking people that seem to be untraditional people to be in these positions. They're capable of it. And they're people that have the same view and outlook on what we need done as myself and many of those that voted for Trump. And so I'm and they've got a history of doing that. So I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. Right? I did a thread earlier on what do you call it? On X. The 12 gauge is still in the room, but he's just fucking ignoring us. Arrogant little prick. And in my little thing, I pointed out that there's always been this divide between Trump and Elon, and Trump and many people out there with money and big businesses, like even that little idiot from Meta or from Facebook. And an interesting happened is that when Trump survived the assassination attempt, and as soon as he was able to come to a stand, he's yelling to people, fight, fight, fight. That was the moment that Elon Musk and many other people realized that Trump wasn't just talking shit, that Trump really believes in what he's doing. Trump really has a concept of what he wants done, what he thinks needs to be fixed, and he's really going to make it happen. And that at that point, because of that specifically, Elon and many others saw Trump in a whole new light. As a matter of fact, the light that they saw Trump in was more accurately to describe the light they see themselves in. Elon is a guy that sets a goal, he makes a commitment, and he does everything he has to do to get that commitment to come to fruition. He doesn't always succeed, but he succeeds so much. And the successes are so big that it's mind-numbing. So we could take all the things and pick apart, like the battery stuff. There's a lot of things you could take and show bad. But when you look at Elon as a person, he's a highly focused, a highly engaged person that's really, really puts himself into something 100%. And when he saw Trump jump up and do that, right? Trump's first instinct wasn't to hide down and cower and be carried away. It was to stick his fist up and say, fight, fight, fight. That made a connection to Elon's inner Elon. That's who Elon is. That's how he's got rockets landing. That's how he's created a fucking rocket company out of nothing. That's how he's built the car companies. And that's why he bought Face or X or Twitter at the time. When he decides to do something, he commits to it, and he commits to see it to its end. Regardless, he doesn't know what the end's going to be. He's going to do everything he can to make the end successful. And then fate and life will take over. And this is what he saw. That's why he related to Trump. That moment that Trump did that was a moment of revelation. Now Elon saw a part of Trump that he had never witnessed before. What did he witness? Trump's narcissism, Trump's grandiosity, Trump's chaotic and confusing statements, right? Trump's controversies. That's what a lot of the people, especially Elon, and a lot of people that didn't vote for Trump, that's what they see. But they don't understand that's all part of the makeup of who he is and how he gets the attention and how he gets to be heard and seen, which he then tries to convert to a task that'll provide some kind of success. And for Elon, I believe this totally. Elon is somebody that's accomplished more. And let's be fair. Go back to 2015. Did Trump build a nice empire? Certainly he did. In real estate. But nothing compared to the innovation and the life-changing achievements that Elon Musk has given humanity. I mean, after all, folks, an apartment or a condo is just an apartment or a condo. Rockets that go to space and come back and land, PayPal that revolutionized online payments and created a whole new industry, right? The Tesla car, just think everything he's done has been a change for humanity. And Elon's work has impacted humanity in incalculable ways, right? Both obvious and not obvious. And so from that point of view, just think about this. Who had more notoriety? Trump. Who was more recognized? Who was more loved? Who was got more adoration? Trump. Trump has always gotten that. And I'll be very honest with you. For a guy like Elon that's actually changed the course of humanity, in many respects he has, right? He's done world-changing things, but he never got any adoration. Mostly what he would get is when he would go to speeches and he would go to meetings and he would go to his employees. Elon never got the publicity. Elon never got the public adoration that Trump gets. Never. Now, he would get it through, like I said, common ground with common people in that industry, whatever it may have been that he was doing. He may have gotten that to some extent. But listen, if a 12-ounce water glass is full at 12 ounces, Trump's glass was runneth over. Elon barely got a couple of drops of that adoration. And I think that was one of the reasons that Elon had an issue with Trump. I think a lot of people have an issue with Trump. They think all Trump is out for is the adoration. And I think that especially when we saw what he did on that stage when he was shot at, I think that was a moment both for Trump, but maybe for many, many people around the world to realize there's more to this guy than we thought. Right? Trump did work on building his brand. Elon never did. But here's what happened, folks. And you can see this. Go back and watch Elon when he enters Trump's sphere. You see him jumping around on the fucking stage, and now he's calling himself Dark MAGA, and people in the crowd cheering and screaming and yelling for him. Elon never experienced any of that. And that's something that highly successful people that have greatness about them, people that are going to do or have done great things for humanity, rarely do they get the adulation during their lifetime. Usually great men and great women are celebrated long after they're dead. Their greatness is recognized after they're deceased. Okay? Go look at the famous musicians and the famous artists back in the day. Their talent was recognized, but their greatness and their significance in changing the arts that they were in or whatever field that they were in was never recognized until long after they're dead. Here you have two different peoples, Trump and Elon, right? That in their own rights are great men. And that's what I was saying today in my thread. And that Elon is finally getting the adulation and the admiration and the respect and the cheering that a great man really deserves during his lifetime, but often never gets until he's dead. And that came because of his witnessing of Trump's reaction to being shot. That view of Trump altered Elon's view. And as a benefit of that, okay, he made a friend in Trump. And all this other stuff that's coming to Elon was something Elon never really thought he was going to get or deserved or wanted for whatever reason, even though he always saw Trump get it. I'm sure that has to irk a lot of these guys that are rich. The admiration Trump has got. Now Elon can bask in that same admiration, and Elon Musk definitely deserves it. Look, so does the guy at Facebook. If the guy at Facebook wouldn't be a fucking censorship corporate cunt, right? That's an amazing fucking thing, folks. Everything we have going for us. Think about it, right? We have an amazing ability to live life today like no other time in history, and it's only going to get better. And the people that made these changes, sadly, some of them are nefarious. Some of them are playing against the crowd. They're playing for their own particular interests. I mean, look at all the music industry problems we're having now with Diddy and everything else. Look at it all. It's all fucked up. It's all crazy. Look at our actors because of ideological differences. You want me to accept that you could chop your kid's pecker off at 4 years old? You can give them drugs that are fucking castrate the kids, boys and girls, to change. No. Let that kid grow up and be an adult, 18. Then let the kid go make that decision. I'm not saying hide that from the kids, but I'm saying prevent it from being discussed prior to puberty. The fuck until you go through puberty, we all fucking little boys question. I put on fucking my mother's dress or my sister's dress and wore her shoes. I did that as a kid too, trying to be smart, trying to be funny, right? Not because I thought I was a girl, but you did. I did stuff that normal kids do. All kids do that. Girls come out and they want to play football. They want to play basketball. My stepsisters were riding the motorcycle, jumping fucking ramps. They interact as if they were boys and they were girls. So my point is that we all know this is normal. It's not until you get into puberty and actually pass through puberty that 99% of us move on with whatever we've got from that. I don't think it should be hidden from everyone. Honest to God, folks, I think that there's too many secrets around people's sexuality, and that puts people in compromising positions, and it threatens people's livelihood, and it just shouldn't be. It just shouldn't be. We're one of the only creatures on earth that just bang our fucking brains away anytime we get a chance to. I mean, you don't go out in the woods and see fucking deer and bear banging each other willy-nilly constantly. There's a mating season that these creatures go through. We don't experience that, right? So I think that there's just too many hangups about something that makes us unique from the other animals on Earth. Now, I'm not saying there isn't another creature on Earth that doesn't bang like us. There probably is. I don't know. I don't know any off the top of my head. So anyway, there's just a lot of shit that we do that It just opens the doors for the secrets and for the lies and for all of that other nonsense that then people use to take advantage of you or control you. But back with the Elon and the Trump thing, I think like Trump, that's the other thing with Trump. He can't help but tell people what he's thinking. And when he said, I brought him to Mar-a-Lago. The guy hasn't left yet. I don't think he's going to leave until I don't like him anymore. Right? My advice to Trump is to build an apartment off the Mar-a-Lago. Build an apartment or create a space in an apartment that Elon could come and go to. Because for the first time, I think, in Elon's life, he's exposed to hundreds and thousands of people that really appreciate him for what he's done. Now, even more so when it comes to the MAGA movement. But he's exposed to people in a way that he hasn't been exposed to. Not to say he didn't go to tuxedo dinners or go out on boats with friends or own it, whatever. But this kind of exposure that he's getting around Trump is something that I think he clearly enjoys. And I think that he wants to soak up as much of it as he can. There'll come a point in time where he might get tired of it. But I think that Trump should make that as easy accessible to him as possible. Yeah, I don't know that that's universally true, Carl. People used to have morals, one man, one woman, period. I don't know that that's been historically true. I know that's what religions have wanted everybody to do. And that's, that's fine. So I don't know. There's just so many points of failure in that particular point of view that that it is what it is, right? I mean, what about people that think a guy should have as many wives as he wants? So you've got the Mormons were like that. You go over into different parts of the world and they have different opinions on that. And that's what I think is important, is that those opinions or those people's ways of living life shouldn't be obstructed with. And I don't think that that's our problem. I think our biggest problem is that we all think that the way we view the world is the only way others should view the world. And we're not giving other people a chance to live the world the way they want to live it. Yeah. That's morally bankrupt. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You could consider me morally bankrupt. I don't mind having that title. But that wouldn't look, you're right to think that and feel that's fine. But if it ever encroached on my ability to live the way I live, well, I don't know. You might be handless. They might get chopped off. Yikes. Elon Musk influences surpasses that of Donald Trump. It might. I think it surpasses him amongst certain groups of people. But I think on the whole, when it comes to politics, Elon doesn't even hold a candle to Trump. It's good to see him there, don't get me wrong. And I really believe that once Trump was shot, I think that helped, trigger something within him to be more determined. And I hope that any choices he makes between now and the day he's sworn in keeps him safe, that there isn't any more people trying to kill the guy. Yeah. In some areas, I think his influence surpasses that of Donald Trump in ways that you can't even calculate. But I think when it comes to the common man and what we need America to be for America, I mean, how is it? This is shocking. It's almost as if Joe Biden has opened up the door of our treasury and just started with bulldozers pushing our money out to every country on earth that's not us. I don't understand how people aren't surrounding the Capitol screaming, "What in the fuck are you doing?" I don't care what party you vote for. It's done right in your face. If you're a Democrat and you don't see that this guy puts everybody else ahead of you, and you're not even on the fucking list, you're not even last. You're not even a consideration. You're just some dumb fucking stiff that they can get tax money out of. Okay? And that includes people that don't work. You got to sell a bill, you're paying federal income fucking tax. You're paying federal fucking fees on everything you're doing. So don't kid yourself. And that's all you are to the people that run this country. I'm tired of and I've been tired for decades of how the American citizens are treated by, and our government is supposed to be of the people, by the people, for the people. Too many fucking Americans see the government as an independent entity separate from themselves. Bunch of dumb motherfuckers. It's exactly not what this government is. That's not what it is. It's not how it's supposed to be. That was never the intention. Government was supposed to be the everyday fucking guy. We've let these political class people, the fucking money, the people with the donors. That's why I say the only way to really fix this is that all politicians can only run off of a tax base. In other words, there's an election fucking, there's a voter tax for every fucking office that's ran for. It's funded publicly. Period. End of story. Now there'd be no more big donors coming in. Intel and fucking Pfizer and all of these big fucking companies wouldn't be able to sway the politicians. And these politicians, because they're running off of taxpayer dimes, would have to be accountable to the people that funded them, or the people that funded them are going to throw them out on their fucking ass. People would pay more attention if they knew their skin was in the game. Just think about the amount of trillions of fucking dollars they gave away of your tax money. Imagine if just 1 trillion of that in a life of 72 years was used to put candidates to run for office. Take 70, so an entire life of a human male in America, 72 to whatever years, the government, there was $1 trillion paid by all of us to help get these people to run. That to me would be the only way to fix it. They call it a poll tax. They did use that to discriminate. But the whole concept of government officials that want a government job using government money, which in us means if you, a citizen, want to work for the government, for us citizens, you're going to use our money to do it. And that's it. All right? Yeah, no, we don't do that. That Supreme Court, that one decision they did, Citizens United, has always offended me. Government is not so silent partner. What did this say? We have all become slaves to an empire. Absolutely, Liz. And that we let that happen. We've allowed them to teach us that they're separate from us, that they're the centralized location of power and control. And that's just fucked up. It's wrong. That's not the way the system has been designed to work. These big corporations taking over, knocking all these mom and pop stores. No. I mean, how come there isn't 20 different Lowe's and Home Depot type store, or Lowe's and Home Depot type fucking businesses out there? Why isn't there? There should be. There should be 30, 40, 50,000 fucking family farms. Not a few hundred or a few thousand corporate farms. So all of this stuff we all know. I'm like preaching to the choir. But again, it generally comes back to us as people. We're not doing anything as a group. We've got the most powerful fucking form of communications, and we come out here and we talk about stupid shit every day. And the people that bring up the stupid shit, we go to their rooms. You go into their room, provides them with a penny. They get enough few fucking pennies, they start making real money. It's fucking crazy, man. I see all the chaos on the Idaho 4. Which for the politician people, you may not be familiar with that, but the Idaho 4 is an important case because it's a case under which a man is being charged with a quadruple homicide that in fact may have committed the crime. But the processes under which our government apprehended this guy, the processes under which they investigated this guy and collected evidence is fucking wrong. It's fucking crazy. And that's what makes the Idaho 4 such an enticing case for me to pay attention to. And from what I understand, what I said in the very beginning, the only reason I got involved with true crime was because of the fucking Idaho 4. And the first show I ever went on was a guy, Dago, the True Crime Cafe. Decent guy. And then I was involved with a whole bunch of the other true crime creators. And I just walked away. I couldn't take the fucking bullshit. There's tunnels under the house. Somebody parachuted in. There's this, there's that. Did the people at the grub truck? Did the guy in the band field? You got one goofball looking at reflections in a fucking camera lens off a fucking car door telling you there's... And yet, all of you flock to that shit. Rather than sit down as fucking adults and say, hey, let's start going after fucking Meta, Facebook, and Instagram to demand that they stop using our personal information to stalk us with ads. To demand that they stop collecting our personal information on the idea that they can sell it to others to stalk us with their fucking ads. I mean, we have so much we can accomplish as a group of people, and yet what do? Fucking bullshit out here. Now, you could claim that what I've been doing out here tonight is bullshit. Fair enough. But at least we were talking about the fucking tariffs. At least we were talking about something that definitely affects the fucking us as a group, right? And I gave you information that's factually based, easy for you to confirm. And even better, if you can show me I'm wrong, bring it in here. I'm not going to attack you for showing me I'm wrong. I'm going to thank you for teaching me something. Show me how these corporations in America aren't using third world labor at third world fucking cost to make a massive fucking profit back in a first world country, us, by selling that fucking product back here, and how wrong it is for us to fucking want to tax them. I mean, you got fucking laid off. Your grandfather, your father's got laid off from automotive plants exactly for what's happening. And now you got a chance to tell them companies that did that, fuck you, you want to sell that product here, you're going to make up for the fucking wages that you stole from this country. Just on that fucking point of view alone, you should be happy with tariffs. How many of your families have lost fucking people to employment? Relatives and friends and neighbors. Because these fucking corporations are jerking off around in third world countries, taking advantage of people. Instead of lifting the society up, they're holding them at a fucking level of poverty, just above the poverty line or below. And we allow them to do that so they can come here and sell me Tupperware? Fuck you and your Tupperware, brother. Right? As an expert in the effects of social media, and look at how the G fam has been using social media. Shannon Gray, I don't know what that is. I'm literally in college learning about this exact thing right now. Be very careful about being in college, Miss Dakota. College has a way of telling you a single point of view. College has a way of killing your ability, your innate, natural fucking ability to use your brain to question. If I can share anything with you that may change your life as you go forward in life, is any knowledge that man provides is to be questioned. I don't care how many people swear to you that it's accurate. It's your right and your responsibility to question everything and come to your own understanding. And sometimes what you come to understand may be wrong, but have the courage to be wrong, because being wrong is the first step in an education. You were not anything. You were so wrong when you were a kid. Imagine going up trying to put on a shoe and tie it. How many times did you get that wrong before you figured it out? Being wrong is a wonderful thing. Accepting that you're wrong and not feeling shame or any guilt or any emotion to it, welcoming being wrong is the best thing you can do, especially if you're in education and you're in college. Be willing to be wrong. Don't fear it. Embrace it, because that is absolutely the biggest, brightest door you can walk through to educate yourself. Einsteinian physics is being questioned, and the world is going to change. And I think, and I hope that I'm alive to see some of it. There you go. Don't let any of these, don't let any of the people that are in your school try to tie you down to one economic viewpoint. America could have been much, much more successful if we weren't ruled by these jerk-offs that think they're rulers instead of servants. If America would have kept the politicians they elected to the standard of a servant, and I don't mean like a slave, I mean someone that's there to serve the public for the behalf of the public, held them to that standard, this country wouldn't be fucked up the way it is right now. Don't let anyone tell you one thing or another. There's all different ways to look at it. You know, you can agree that global warming is real. And I can give you an argument that is real. But I can't give you the argument that the only reason it's warming is human activity. That I cannot do. But I can show how completely correct the theory of global warming is on the point that the Earth is gradually rising in temperature. That can't be disputed. The last ice age ended in 1850. The last ice age began in 1300. It's called the mini ice age. There were several years in America without a summer in the 1700s. The mini ice age that ended in 1850. The globe has yet to recover its temperature prior to the beginning of that ice age. So when someone says to me there's global warming, I completely comprehend and accept that there is global warming. But let me just be clear. We are not back to pre-ice age temperatures. So whatever the temperature was in 1200 AD, we're not there yet. Therefore, I accept that the global warming is a natural processes that the earth goes through, regardless of whether we're here or not. Mankind did not cause an ice age in 1300. And mankind is not going to cause a catastrophic warming. Remember, everything on the earth that we do comes from the earth and goes back to the earth. And so, yeah, some of the things we do, I agree, do pollute. Some of the things we do are carcinogens to you and me. But to the earth, not at all. And the fact that when they talk about climate change, they change it from global warming to climate change. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard of in my life, because climate never has not changed. There's never a point in history where you could show climate didn't change. Climate was always changing. Warmer, colder. There were times where trees were 1,000 foot tall. Now they're not. Now they're only 60 feet tall. See? Yeah, the planet has its own cycle. Now, are we manipulating? Are we causing? Sure, we're adding to it. But not on the scale that they want you to scare you into. Like, that's the other thing, too. When it comes to religion and it comes to, I believe in science, they both share one commonality, that the end is near. Right? And we're all going to be facing the final curtain unless we get a battery-powered car or unless we turn to windmills. Oh, boy. And if you lie or if you cheat or if you sneak, or you're going to go to hell, right? Or there's going to be the world is going to end and only the believers are going to survive. That's the one thing that I find most people pay no attention to or don't recognize, that both those people that think they're educated and scientific depend on the same kind of fear-mongering that religion does, and yet the scientific people will tell you how much they hate religion. Yet they're doing what religion has done to humanity for thousands of years and convince us the end is near unless we do what they tell us to do. Right? It's insane what people have done across the centuries. It's insane. And I'm not downgrading religion. I'm not downgrading science. There's room for all of that. And I'll just say this for the young woman going to school. Never forget that science is looking for an answer. And in its own way, without admitting it, science is looking for God. No different than the spiritual teachings and the religious teachings and the followings of people that are all connected to religion and spirituality. Are they themselves seeking to find, discover, understand, and maybe be a part of God? That's the other thing that science has in common with religion. They can tell you it's a particle. They can tell you it's a wave. But deep down, both perspectives are both looking for how this was all created. Neither side can give you a description or show you any proof, yet both sides seek the same answer. That's what I've always found. That's why I like the term irony. There's such irony in science and religion. It really is. Yep. And here's the thing that I'm going to end the stream with, just so people realize. I've talked about this hundreds of times in the years that I've been on and off the internet. If you're scientific, then what kind of a maniac are you to believe in something? You see, belief is an act. Belief releases chemicals in your body. When you believe something, you no longer will allow any information into your realm that contradicts that belief. And that's never more recognizable than when you look at religion. If someone's a devout Muslim, a devout Buddhist, or a devout Catholic, or Christian, or whatever, no matter how much scientific evidence you provide to try to show them that Christ or whoever they think God isn't real, the more entrenched they become in believing they are real. The one problem that humanity, and the reason we're manipulated by those in positions of authority, the reason we're manipulable is because we've been trained to use our power to believe in manly things, in human things, and societal things. Science is not to be believed at all. It's to be proven unequivocally and reprovable. over and over and over again. That's science. That's the end of it. But yet people believe in a specific scientific point of view. And that's dangerous. It's dangerous because once you stop questioning, you no longer are practicing science, you're practicing fucking religion. You've turned science into your religion, or you've turned politics into your religion. You know, I got a lot. I had 28,000 followers on Twitter, and most of them left when I started going after Trump for some of the choices he made, things he did at the end of his administration. When I made the case and pointed out General Flynn was a crooked piece of shit, I lost followers by the fucking thousands because they couldn't question. They refused to look. They refused to even want to hear anything negative. And, you know, when something's negative, it's negative. And when somebody does something that's questionable, when you turn me over to Dr. fucking Fauci from the Hillary Clinton Foundation, okay? When you turn me over to that motherfucker, I got a problem with that action. I question what you did. And the fact that you allowed that guy to continue doing what he was doing around whatever was going on at that time, I have a problem with that. And Trump did that to us. So I guess here's what I'm trying to say is never, ever, ever entrench yourself into believe in something or someone or something so tightly that you can't acknowledge that it needs to be questioned or that you're wrong or that the information you have may not be complete. You always have to have that capacity to do that. I mean, I was a sycophant Trump supporter like anyone else back in the early days. And I always said, and I've got videos somewhere, terabyte of videos that I've said all the time, he's either with us or against us. Time will tell. We don't know. And now here we are, right? He's going to be president again. And my questions and my criticisms of him, for the most part, 90% of them on actions that he's taken have been laid to rest. There's still some concerns that I have with Trump. I don't think that they're ever going to go away. But I'm not going to make big streams out of it or, you know, go on this fucking rampage against the guy. 9 out of 10 ain't bad. You know, I mean, in the car races I've had, I think in 10 races, I've probably won 7 of them. 7 out of 10 ain't bad, man. That's a good average. It's 70%. All right, folks. Even though 12 gauge ignored us, son of a bitch. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna go with this. I said the Idaho 4. I started that. I'm going to end with the Idaho 4. My understanding of this time is the understanding that I had when I first got involved with the case. I understood, and I said to people several times that there were 2 cars, one of 13, 11 to 13, and one of 14 to 16. And from what I'm hearing and what I've listened to or had read, the FBI agent that identified the car, okay, is firm in understanding that the car he identified around the crime scene was in fact an 11 to 13. That in and of itself should be the reason Brian Koberger is no longer kept in that fucking jail cell. And the only reason Brian Koberger should be kept in jail or even brought to trial, the only reason is if they can connect the 11 to 13 Elantra and Brian Koberger in his 2015 Elantra at the same place at the same time, or in the same area, in the same general time. In other words, unless they can place Brian Koberger in that car, then this case should be dismissed. I don't give a fuck how many pictures you got of Brian Koberger's car with no image of him, no proof it's him, and you can only identify it as a 14 to 16. Every fucking piece of evidence against Brian Koberger is exculpatory. I said that right from the start. The PCA is an exculpatory piece of information. It is not inculpatory. And it seems that people are too hard-headed to understand how the court is supposed to work, how it does work in many, many cases. You need a fact. And telling me that criminals routinely turn off their phone to mask their location doesn't apply to Brian Koberger at all, because you have no witness to confirm that he in fact did that. Brian Koberger isn't telling you he did that. The cop is telling you that in an application for a warrant to arrest a guy for a quadruple fucking homicide. A quadruple homicide that one of the surviving witnesses, her Her statements make the 2011 to 2013 Elantra relevant. If you take out Dylan's statements, the car that they observed on the camera has no relevance. But when you include her statements and then track the time they claim this Elantra was in that neighborhood, then that car becomes a party to the fucking crime, or at least a strong likelihood, if not absolutely part of that crime. Her statements on what she witnessed, on what she heard during that her phone and Bethany's phone confirmed, 4 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. Whatever data they collected from the survivors makes that car real. It makes the movements of the 11 to 13 consistent with what happened in that home. Therefore, you have to exclude Brian. This is just shocking to me that people didn't see this in the beginning. As a matter of fact, later on when they came out, because they told the public, we're looking for an 11 to 13 Elantra. Folks, that kind of specificity isn't given inaccurately to trick people, you dumb motherfuckers. When law enforcement gives you that kind of specificity on something that they say is important, trust me, they're accurate. Later, when you hear that they identified a 14 to 16, and you decide in your pea fucking brain that means the car that they told you that they saw must have been a 14 or 16, they made a mistake. Finally, 2 years later, the FBI agent that identified both cars is telling you that he didn't make a mistake. You ignored Ann Taylor when Ann Taylor said that the car the FBI used, the imagery the FBI used to identify the 14 to 16 Elantra was from a car going the wrong way at the wrong time on the wrong road. Okay? There's some jerk off Jeff H out there, I think that's his name, saying, well, he might have made a U-turn. Instead of accepting data at its face value is what you're supposed to do. And only when that changes, only when verifiable data changes that, do you accept it's changed. I never allowed anybody to convince me that car wasn't 11 to 13. 2 years later, I'm finally proven fucking completely accurate. Because that's how you're supposed to deal with facts. Facts, folks, can be wrong. In other words, you could be told a fact about a crime, and you accept that as a fact, because that's what they're telling you it is. I accept Brian Kohlberger at that house because that's what they're telling me. But if nothing can support that fact, if when you check his car, there's no DNA, his apartment, his home in Pennsylvania, his office, all his belongings, none of it connects there. When you realize no electronic data connects to Brian Kohlberger in that house, when you realize the car that you thought that you're accusing of being him at the house is actually not his car. When all of this stuff starts to fucking mount up, you got to say to yourself, we got the wrong guy. Or even worse, we got the wrong guy with the wrong information. Our accusations can't put him in that house. And for those of you little-minded fucking people that think the transfer DNA on the knife sheath means he did the crime, you are the reason America is fucked up. It's you pea-brain fucking idiot, illiterate motherfuckers that take one thing and hang on to it. Well, let me be fucking clear. None of that existed. None of the knowledge of DNA existed when you were already convicting him and accepting the police's story. And then not even accepting the story. Well, it must have been a 14 to a 16 because they arrested the guy. He was in a 15. They must have got it wrong. And you're basing that because you're putting your whole fucking game on the transfer DNA. That's just fucking stupid. That's a stupid way to think. Everything they explain to you in an arrest warrant can't be proven. Everything they use to charge this guy with a crime is not real. Therefore, this fucking DNA that you're holding on to was obtained illegally. Fruit from the poison tree. You can't claim I robbed an ice cream store at 4 o'clock in the afternoon on a Tuesday driving a blue pickup. Okay? You can't make that claim if you can't prove that claim. And that's what they did to Brian Kohlberger. As a matter of fact, their information showed them right to their own fucking face it couldn't have been him. Like I said, they have to put Brian Kohlberger in that 11 to 13 or there is no case. And there's no motion, there's no argument, there's no counter-filing by the state There's no talk of Brian Koberger having an accomplice or Brian Koberger changing vehicles. None. Never was, never has been. And so now what? You can't put him in that 11 to 13. You can't put him at the scene of the crime between 4 a.m. and 4:20. You could put that car there, but you can't put Brian there because that's not Brian's fucking car. That's what's driven me nuts the whole time to this case. It's almost like, am I talking in riddles? Am I using words that are too fucking big? Or are you just so fucking stupid and believing in data that you don't have the capacity to realize that data shouldn't be believed in? It should be examined and re-examined when anything questions it and re-examined when anything adds to it. That's how you deal with knowledge. You don't just fucking believe it. Yikes. Yeah, I'm a preaching to a choir for the most part, and I'm fucking being harsh about it, but goddamn, people learn how to fucking think. It's not that fucking difficult. Not that difficult at all. It's not like you lost your fucking shoes and you got to sit down and think what you did for the last 10 minutes. I've suffered from that calamity too. I lost my car keys one day. My kid was at an age of taking things and hiding things and locking me out of the house. She was like a hell on fucking wheels. She thought anything she could do to get a laugh was just game. So I'm walking around the house. We got to be somewhere at 2:00 or something. And it's like 1:35, 1:40. And I'm like, are you ready? Yeah. Okay. I got to find my keys. And she just walks over and sits on the edge of the coffee table like she's in straight backs, just sitting there. And I'm going around the house looking for it. I'm like, Allie, where are my keys? She's like, cut it out. I go, cut what out? She's like, just cut it out. I go, I don't know. Where the hell am I? Did you take my keys? Did you hide my keys? Did you hide my keys? And now you're telling me we're going to be late because of me? She's like, are you serious? I go, yeah, I'm serious. Where are my keys? She goes, they're in your hand, Dad. Right? No, it's not even. Yeah, and the FBI agent said that he's much more comfortable standing on the identification of the car being 11 to 13 around that house. Now, like I said, put Brian Koberger in that car, and now we're on track that this kid did it, and you could prove it, but you need to put him in that car. And that, these people, there's a witness out there. There's this. What kind of a witness? Let me be clear. What kind of a fucking witness? Let's break this down, and then I'm going to end the stream, because this is fucking hilarious when you really look at the ignorance of what people are saying. His sister snitched on him. There's a witness. Okay, all right. So there's a witness that claims you did it, Heather. Okay? You committed that crime. And I could be your brother, your sister, your cousin, your coworker, your neighbor, whoever. It doesn't matter who the fuck I am, but I'm a witness. I'm an informant. I'm a tip. And I throw you under the bus, Heather. How come when they went and checked the fucking data and realized that Koberger's phone couldn't be found for more than 2 hours before and after the crime, for at least 2 hours, an hour either side of the crime, okay? That's A. B, the car that he drives is an Elantra. Oh my God, this tipster might be right. But then you find out the Elantra is 11 to 13, that it's not the car that kid owns. And the only similarity between his car and that car is no front license plate, as far as you could tell on the video images, or that's what you're just telling me. But let's just go with that. So my point is, I get a tip. Now I start reviewing the tip. And nothing in your tip pans out. However, the things that I did find are relevant to the crime. So the information that the victim shared with me to establish the timeline is valid. The presence of the vehicle in this timeline, including stopping at 4:07 a.m. and not leaving until 4:20 a.m., is within the timeline that's been established, making that car a party to the fucking crime, okay? So the information that I did discover fits the crime, but it doesn't fit Heather. So why was Heather charged with a quadruple murder? Because it wasn't until after Heather was charged with a quadruple murder that they then claim to have found DNA on a knife sheath. The knife sheath didn't come before the fucking arrest and charge of Heather. It came after, meaning that without that arrest, they wouldn't have had a warrant for a DNA collection from Brian Koberger. Like I'd always said for the whole time, why didn't they sit him down in an interrogation room? Give him something to drink. surreptitiously collect his DNA or ask him for a swab. Okay? They could have even invited these people in criminology to a little seminar. They could have created a million fucking ways to get the kid's DNA legally. They didn't do it. So they had a tip. His sister. And everything that they discovered while researching this tip showed that it wasn't Brian Koberger. And it wasn't until after they ignored the evidence that they had sitting in their fucking lap, okay, that they wrote the fucking warrant in such a way to get a warrant, to get a hold of the guy, then to get a swab. All right? My point is that people, once you fucking believe that Koberger did this, nothing that's said to you is accepted at face value. Once you determine, and I'm telling you, I don't know that he didn't do it. I don't know that he did do it. But that's not my fucking job as an American citizen. I'm not here to solve crimes. As an American citizen of interests in 4 young people that were horrifically murdered, right? I want to see what the government is proposing, what the government is showing me, what they're accusing somebody of, and how that all fits together. And it has to fit together under specific fucking rules, or the case has to be dismissed. You see? I think they had Koberger's name before. People don't even understand that DNA is a statistical fucking decision that's being made by somebody building a tree. That tree could be built to identify fucking different people. Let me be very clear, folks. These IgG things, they know who you are when they build a tree. If they don't come back and say that that tree had 3,000 options to go a different direction, then they're lying to you. They had to know who Koberger was before they built the tree to come up with the conclusions they came up with. Trust me when I tell you, that's the fucking problem in this case. And people that are hanging their hat on the DNA don't understand that it's always a statistical analysis that makes the fucking person doing the analysis decide to go left or right. Do I go towards Koberger or do I go through fucking Jones? Do I go to fucking Mayweather? Do I look at fucking the Pillsburys? Do I look at the fucking Joneses? Do I look at fucking Koberger? Wow, we know Koberger was in the area. Okay, let's see if this tree adds up to Koberger. And then they have compromised their fucking scientific ability to be neutral. I suspect the reason Koberger's DNA tree is built was because they had Koberger's name before they started the tree. Okay? That's what I think happened here. Because the amount of DNA they had that they then had to amplify didn't produce the result that it was a Koberger. They had to go build a family tree on top of that. All right? And listen, go look at New York State. How is it New York State allows you to be called the father of a child if only 90% of the markers match? How can you be 90% of the fucking dad? Well, no one else we tested higher than you. Well, so what? I don't give a fuck. I need to be 99.9% sure that I'm the father, not 90. Some states are even going for less than 90%. It's insane. And people that they think they know because they watch a TV show called NCIS and this, and they hear about DNA, and they don't realize there's only 2 things in that we know for sure can identify you as you. Unequivocally, 100%, every fucking time, without even knowing your name, not even knowing you exist. It's a retina scan and a fingerprint. Those 2 things will lead back to you. DNA, folks, is a statistical analysis of the material that you have. And when you review the Koberger case, you realize that they really didn't have much material to do it with at all. And whether they got a tip or not, there's no way that the people doing the family tree weren't looking for a Koberger connection. To me, it just doesn't seem possible. Because a family tree from an unidentified individual, you got to identify somebody from nothing. Even when you do a cold case file and you find a dead body, you actually are looking for missing person reports. You're looking for people that this body was 18 weeks old and she had blonde hair and she was such a height. You're going to look for people that fit that description, and you're using that person's identity to try to sort through the DNA that you've got. So when you're trying to identify a dead fucking body, right? Crime scenes, you're trying to identify friends, neighbors, gang members, people in that area, people that are connected to the deceased. You've got names And I'm telling you, this is how they got Brian Koberger. With the DNA itself, is completely bunk. And yet, you know, I don't know. Like I said, I could get on fucking YouTube every day and create a YouTube stream for fucking Brian Koberger. I bet you I could get my following up to 10, 15, 20,000. And I could talk about all these ins and outs and all this fucking bullshit. And it's just for what? You know, I just find it disgusting that we're going to talk about somebody at a fucking from an image or a I just don't, I don't know. I'm just, drives me fucking crazy. All the cases she is caught fibbing and misrepresenting the results. Yeah, Heather, you're right. It's not just Colorado that it happens. Look, if somebody is doing a family tree and they say, well, can you look to see if what you have connects to, and they give her 3 names, right? Yeah, that fucking guy Jeff is an idiot, man. He comes off as he's a very, very, very good fucking manipulator. I'm just more raw. I don't give a fuck. He's actually got this mission, and he'll engage you on topics that he disagrees with only because he wants you to feel like he's interested, and he's not. He just wants to get his point across, and he plays this fucking game with it. And the fact of the matter is that it's never really factual shit that he hangs on to. He adds shit to the fucking scenario. So, you know, I had a discussion with him in 12 gauge one night on Discord, and I had to just fucking block the guy. When she files a motion and says that the 14 to 16 Elantra was identified from an image of a car going the wrong way at the wrong time on the wrong road, he says, well, how do we know it didn't do a U-turn? Well, that's because it's not in evidence. It's not fucking in evidence. It's a fucking what if? What if you weren't born so fucking ignorant? Then you wouldn't be asking this fucking question. How do we know he didn't do a U-turn? Because, motherfucker, there's no evidence of anybody claiming anybody did a U-turn. Except in your head. And when people start going down that path with the what ifs, I can't deal with what if. I get fucking insane. I just want to take and just pulverize your brain with a baseball bat. What the fuck's the matter with you? What if? What if my ass, okay? Take the facts as they're given. Try to understand them. And as more facts are added, sort it the fuck out. That's all you can do. And in the analysis, like I said, I don't know if he killed these kids or not. I don't know that he did. I don't know that he didn't. What I am sure of is that every piece of the accusation used to arrest him for a quadruple homicide is unverifiable, unprovable, untrue. That's what that means. It's untrue. It's a falsehood. When you claim he drove to that house, it's untrue. You can't prove that. You can prove the exact opposite, which is what we call exculpatory evidence. You can prove that car isn't his. You can prove when his phone comes online, it's more than 11.8 miles away from the crime scene, 28 minutes after the crime. That's when his phone came. But you could prove when his phone went off. He was nowhere near the crime scene. So both before and after the crime, you could show unequivocally with no argument that Brian Koberger was nowhere near that house. Within miles. 11 to 12 miles each time you identified his phone. That's exculpatory evidence, folks. Be different if they turned his fucking phone on and he was one street over. No. The guy was in Blaine, Idaho, for fuck's sakes. The other time he was in Washington, Pullman, Washington. What the fuck? Your whole probable cause document is a document of he didn't do it. Here's the proof that he didn't do it. What did I say for a long time, folks, for a year or more? That Koberger's witnesses that he's innocent are the people that wrote the fucking and charged him. They wrote up the fucking affidavits. They wrote up the charges. They reviewed the evidence. Those are his witnesses. The very police that charged him are evidence that he didn't do it. Right? And slipped and said where he went when she was questioning Payne. Where did he go? No, it was it was more of an 11-minute drive, and it was 28 minutes later. Through cross-examining expert testimony. Explain to me briefly what you're saying here. Just cut to the chase. She slipped. Lewiston, which is way south, but connected to a tower that connects to Bling, right? They look at when you're identified as being on a cell phone tower, folks, you're within the vicinity of that tower. Unless you could triangulate exactly with several towers, then me connected to the tower that's around the corner from me doesn't mean I'm here at my house. It does not mean that I'm here at my house at 10:55 p.m. today. It could mean that I'm right under the cell phone tower or I'm anywhere within a few miles of that tower. The fact of the matter is I connected to the tower. I could be at the local corner store, which is just blocks away from me. But you wouldn't be able to get that kind of accuracy from one tower identifying my phone as being connected to the fucking service. So, yeah. Wherever he was, it clearly isn't Queen Road. And it's just shocking how many people that get on the internet and they create all of these foreign fucking topics and foreign stories and what ifs and couldas and wouldas and shouldas. Thank God I don't need money. Literally. And I say that I knock on wood. Hang on. You can hear this. Knocking on wood. I don't need money. That's why I don't have a YouTube thing where I have memberships and all of that. I don't want your money. Go buy a fucking ice cream or something with your money. Don't give it to me. Yeah, they quit when they realized it was not him. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. It's all propaganda. It's all propaganda. And it's all really the whole thing that comes down to that DNA. And that DNA, that's why she needs access to that company. It's egregious that this company doesn't, and these people involved don't have to surrender every fucking lick of information they use to come up with his name. Yeah, so, well, in this area, just so you know, Liz, if you haven't paid it, this particular case, there weren't enough towers to triangulate a location. And that becomes very, very effective when you could triangulate, because you would need 3 towers. He was hitting off one tower. He was handed off to another tower. But within that tower's capacity, some towers point southwest. Some towers are 360 degrees. Some towers point only to the north, right? And so my point is, he was on an AT&T. You can identify the carrier that he has. You can identify which fucking antenna on there AT&T is poking through and blah, 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 blah. But with only one cell phone tower, all you can be assured of is that his phone was reporting to the tower. You can't locate where he was within that tower's range. You could guess based on signal strength, but that signal strength now is anywhere within the area that tower is covering. So it's kind of a very difficult thing to do when you have one tower. And as Heather had said, they went for the drive to try to figure out where the phone really was. And they gave up because they couldn't come up with anything. Yeah. So listen, they argued that the guy, he would buy that house 12 separate times on 12 separate occasions. They always knew and drove and was driving similar routes on the previous 12 occasions. Well, they knew those similar routes never took him to the King Road residence. And they also knew that on one of those 12 occasions previous, so there were 13 total, including that night, on one of those 12 occasions, his phone stopped reporting to the network, just as it had on the night of the crime. So my point is, there's so much for every argument that they made, they gave the kid exculpatory evidence. I said that right from the beginning when I read the PCA. And that, maybe that's because I've been in criminal court. I've represented myself in criminal court because the lawyers I've always tried to hire, they all want you to plea bargain. Criminal court is about plea bargaining. Criminal court is not about fighting for fucking innocence. That's how criminal court is handled in America. You take a plea bargain whether you did it or not. It's not going to cost you $10,000. It's not going to fucking cause you any grief. You're not going to have to come back and forth to court 15, 20 fucking times, which is what they do to you. I got accused of violating an order of protection that was falsely applied for and gotten. And it took me, I think, a dozen or a whole bunch of fucking visits to court to get that fucking shit straightened out. And the DA told to drop the fucking case, that they had no reason to actually even have the fucking restraining order. I tried to get the judge to give me a dismiss with prejudice so I could sue the state and sue my ex-wife. But he laughed. He said, let's just end this and we'll just we'll just dismiss the case. He goes, I know where you want to go with this, but I'm not going to dismiss it with prejudice. I was like, grr. He goes, but you, sir, should consider being a lawyer. And I thought, yeah, okay. Yeah, they want for you to give up. Yeah. Yeah, it's a numbers game. How many convictions can I get? And I could be governor next. Look at me. Look at me. How do you think Kamala Harris got to where she is? And by the way, I'm going to give me a pet dog, I suppose, and I'm going to call the dog Kamala. I think that's a beautiful name for a dog, in all fairness, folks. Think about that. A female dog, you call her Kamala? That's kind of a nice name for a dog. A little weird for a person, but, how many people names actually are good for a pet? I think Kamala is one of those rare names that does better for a pet than it does a person. Yeah, they want us to just fold, surrender, give up, move on. All right, it's been awesome. 90 people in here, I think, total between the different places. 73 over at X. X rocks, man. Pretty awesome. Frank, I see you over there. I don't know if you're still there, but thanks for coming in. It must mean you got an announcement. Announcements are good. For everybody here on the tube, we got about 14 or 15 of you now. I appreciate you coming in. And none of you son of a bitches hit the like button. None of you son of bitches hit the like button, which is fine. I'm not here to be liked. I'm just here to talk. Live from Beijing, China, from the top of Cock Tower. This is your Ass Hurts News Network. Your host, Sergeant Friday, wishing you a good evening, a good night, and a better tomorrow.